can't do like me. You 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 can't do like me.
Juke music, a big phenomenon. Started out years ago with the teenagers, sort of like Chicago's own little signature thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like workout music on steroids.
If you was born in New York, you definitely gonna be a hip hop head. You know, if you was born down south, you grew up to like Miami-based, to crunk music. You're on the West Coast, you was doing a hypey thing. So Chicago thing was straight up house.
We all grew up on house music. The 80s babies, of course, they growing up on hip hop. But the thing is, house music was never music where a DJ could slam the records together or just drop a bomb and play the next record. House music, you had to blend. Now, whether or not you were good at it is a different story, you know, but to blend and be creative. But it comes from house music.
House music came from the warehouse. Frankie Knuckles from New York came here in 1977, and it was this club. It wasn't even a club, it was this loft called the Warehouse. And you know, people around the city would be like, where you going? We going to the house. What they play at the house music. And in 1984, Jesse Saunders made this song called Fantasy. Then he made this EP called On and On Tracks. So I guess that was the first time you can consider Chicago making an official house song. Pretty much it was just basically our interpretation of disco. From then on came Farley, Steve Hurley, Robert Owens. It's about a good 30 DJs from the 80s that coined this sound, and this record label called Trax Records back in the 80s that put out a lot of house music, and they were like the first label to blossom house music from Chicago to the world.
My style comes from the old school Jesse Saunders On and On tracks, the Farley Funky Keith Funky with the drums, everything that was tracky, because that's what the West Side, that's what we were listening to. Not never taking a dump on the South Side, because I love the Mike Duns, Armando, rest in peace, you know, Eric Martin, Paul Johnson. And their style was like more of the housey, disco sound, like the Frankie Knuckles sound, but you had a lot of tracks coming out of that era from like Steve Poindexter and everybody else.
Those beat tracks really spoke to us. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? The rhythms, the drum machine work, the real intricate details. If you were a DJ, whatever you thought could go on that track, they did it. Right. Because it was a like-minded situation.
Don't forget Chip E.
Definitely Chip E. Definitely Chip E. I'm saying that really that laid that foreground. You know what I'm saying? That laid that real soundscape on what what the kids are doing now.
We inherited the beat, like just a beat, acid beat, because that's what we was like drawn towards.
In the late 80s, we did this sound called acid house. Some people call it jack tracks. Some people just still call it house music. And then some people just call it tracks. It's like 4 or 5 different names for this, but it was basically what we took this machine called the Roland TV303. It's like an acid line, makes bass lines. You can tweak it with the knobs and you get this crazy sound. So that sound kind of started the Ghetto House sound in Chicago.
You know, 87-ish, 89 is when Ghetto started being introduced. And it was played by house DJs.
And it was like the bastard child of house music. A lot of people, they didn't respect it, especially not knowing its origins and where it really came from. And there's been a dispute here in Chicago, you know, for over the years on where does it come from, which side of town, West Side, South Side, you know, and it's really like a like-minded kind of situation that everybody was listening to the radio, and once WBMX went off the air, I would say in '88, it left everybody scrambling. But the origins of Ghetto House, I would say go back as far as maybe '86, '87 or whatever. So it's really a street-oriented music, from the dance, the style, the dress, the attitude. It's all street.
I say records like Steve Poindexter's Work That Motherfucker really kicked it off. And that came out in 1989. That was on this label called Dance Mania, which Dance Mania Records was responsible for coining the Ghetto House sound as far as producers being able to put out records and sell them to the world.
Like end of 1991, that's when I started to hear about the Dion's and the Miltons and the low end, but no, I wasn't really a fan of going on the south side to the project parties, really. So, but when I heard them, I was like, okay, no, this is different. This is raw.
I bounced from project to project with the music that I made. We just try to do stuff like for the environment that was around us, for the girls. It mainly was made for the ladies. See the ladies shake that ass and do what they do.
People started doing edgier stuff, and then you had hard house. And then you had the real underground stuff, which was, you know, some of it had explicit, because our stuff was pretty explicit too. And then from that point on, you had hard house, and then you had clever things like Kashmir did, you know, with Dajé and the Percolator. You know, all of these things were really new, and that, to me, was the bridge from house music to juke music, Percolator. I think that's what kind of like bridged it over.
And I say 92, when Kashmir came out with It's Time for the Percolator, that boomed everything. That was like one of them songs that you could go for house, ghetto, or techno.
Eventually, by us doing the stuff, you know, on the street so much, it was a demand for it. Then once it moved to vinyl through Ray Barney, that, you know, it's just the streets just made it, you know, it made it popular, like with the situation that's going on right now.
I actually ran a record label, and I used to put out music, you know, dance music, house music. They used to call them ghetto tracks of local DJs and independent guys who did music. The best years for Dance Mania, it was probably from about 84, 85 to for about a good 10-year run.
Early 90s, 91, 92, Southside DJs called this more up-tempo house music, they called it booty house. Then you had the West Side cats, or West Side DJs, calling it ghetto house.
Back in the 90s, the West Side was really known for more chants and like the booty house. And the South Side, really, we had more of the, I want to say, dance group orientated tracks for the dancers to really dance to. So that was like the one of the differences back in the 90s, and then like till now, it's like everybody's really just getting ideas off of each other, so it's getting to be a more closer sound, like a Chicago sound, instead of it being a West Side sound or a South Side sound. It's
Ghetto house, juke, booty house, it's all the same genre of house music. It's just ghetto house and juke music is new school house music. So Dion, Milton, and Slugo kicked that scene off. They was from the South Side. You also had the West Side cats like House Mind, Jam and Gerald, Waxmaster, DJ Funk, DJ D-Man. They coined the ghetto house sound for the West Side around, I say 95, 96, and 97. That's when ghetto house just blossomed. It was already full-fledged.
You have to always credit ghetto house music because ghetto house music is where like it kind of like basically started. And you know, with the tracks, the minimal sounding music, you know, just like a bass, a snare and a tom and a clap, you know what I'm saying? It's just, that's it, real minimal with a few sounds here and there. That was what got people dancing, you know.
Then 1998 is when me and DJ Poncho decided to call it Juke.
I know Gat and Poncho and them came up with the word juke, but people were saying that back then, man, the party was juking. You know, and they just started saying it in their records, you know, instead of saying like me and Dion used to do that, you know what I'm saying, let's go.
And I was kind of like, okay, we kind of need something a little new. Everybody keeps saying work it, everybody keeps saying move it, everybody saying pump it. Gant Man, that's my best buddy, he was saying bang it all the time.
Cause we was at a club, and we heard these chicks. You know, the hood come up with all types of slogans, man. These chicks was like, man, it's juking in there, and we're going to get our juke on. And we looked at each other like, juke? Poncho decided to make a track called Let Me See You Juke. Well, actually, the first one was called Juke It.
So I was like, hey, I'm gonna start saying juke it, you know? And then I was like, okay, then I could use that in a lot of different ways. Let me see you juke, and I was like, okay, get on the floor and juke it, girl. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use this word juke, and when I did that, you know, Gant and Eric Martin and another guy, DJ Tone, they all was feeling it, I was feeling it, and we just kind of started like trying to push that.
I say a few years later, after all the tracks we put the word juke in it, people started calling it juke music. It went from play some ghetto house or play some ghetto tracks, play some tracks to play some booty house. Now, play some juke.
Juke music really just developed as technology made it easier for us to have home studios. You know, what it was the kids were able to go get MPCs. They bought the MPCs and, you know, just dealt with the drums, the 808 sounds. They were able to do juke music. If you listen to a lot of it, there's no instruments in it. It's just hot beats. You know, and these kids, you know, like the Gant Mans and the DJ Naphases and all of these, you know, kids, Slugos, you know, these guys were very, very innovative, you know. They were very good at just delivering this stuff. Then you had DJ Chip.
It was actually, you know, the things that you had the tape player in the front and the record players on the top. I had two of those in a Radio Shack mixer. I started out with an RZ1 beat machine and an MS1 sampler, and that's how I got started. The only thing that I could say that's really changed is the technology. I'll say that. You know, we got better equipment to make music with, you know, more sounds.
There are a lot of producers such as DJ Godfather, who are out of Detroit, who also make Ghetto House, but the description that we've always used for that is ghetto tech, because it has a techno influence.
Juke is more, you know, it comes from more Chicago. Ghetto tech has been more of a Detroit thing. But Detroit has always played from day one, has always played like a lot of the Chicago, the early, you know, Ghetto House records and Booty House records, and now the juke music.
When I started, the term ghetto tech wasn't applied to the music that we play that they call ghetto tech now. It was booty music, mixed music, you know what I mean? Because one thing about the whole essence of ghetto tech is a mutation of all type of music. So I like to think of it as an orgy, you know what I'm saying? Techno, house, electro, Miami bass, rap. All these influences melted together in one elaborate little scheme.
At least when I do records for a ghetto tech sound, you know, we kind of keep it more, I keep it more like a simple loop where it's real catchy for everyone. Then I might chop it up later in the song. But yeah, it's just as bold. It's just all party music. I mean, you know, as you can see, it's not like a music where it's fashion music where people have to worry about an image or something. You know what I mean? We all make tracks and we just want to have fun with it, you know? A lot of these other guys, you know, especially when I go overseas, they're worried about more like how they look and what's their image before their actual skills or their actual production, you know?
Ghetto tech is just a small moving part of the whole electronic music scene in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? I like to think of us as like the black sheep of the family. You know what I mean? The bastard son. No one really wants to acknowledge us, but you can't just say that we're not here. You know what I mean?
Now, there's an ongoing battle between like Juke and Detroit ghetto tech. I think there's a lot of similarities, and you know, we should all just battle it out once and for all, and then we can say who won and what came first, Juke or Detroit ghetto tech, you know, the chicken or the egg or whatever it is.
In business, there's always going to be situations to where one side doesn't agree with the other. That has no reflection on the music and the genre. You know what I mean? I think we learned that from the whole Biggie and Pac situation. You know what I mean? To where I don't like West Coast shit because they beefing with, you know what I mean? That's kind of like, you know, that's irrelevant.
If you want to get philosophical on it, I mean, all throughout the ages, throughout the human race, scientific discoveries happen simultaneously in different regions of the world at the same time without them even having communication. So I think it could be just right time, right place, it spawned off, and then they met in the middle, like, oh, instead of, you know, being so against each other, maybe we could actually realize that we have a lot of things in common.
Well, a lot of people would say that me, Dion, Milton, Funk, us, we started it, but that's kind of like far from the truth. My first experience with ghetto house music, what I would consider ghetto, would have been like Beat That Bitch with a Bat or Hoes in His House. And that was like Baltimore, you know, so you really can't take the, you know, where it originally came from. It's just, I don't think they pushed it like we pushed it, you know, or those guys wasn't living that, you know, they just came up with those records, but they wasn't into that type of lifestyle.
I think there was they were saying there's the Detroit house sound, and then there was a Baltimore house sound, but it all came from right here. So, you know, whether they want to, you know, embrace that or not, it doesn't matter. They know where it came from. They know where they got it from.
And definitely it's influenced a new style of music called Baltimore House, which Baltimore House incorporates traditional juke ghetto house and brings in more familiar music, even to what we would incorporate with top 40 now. So you're finding songs that are rap and hip hop, and even including some of the more pop, like an artist such as MIA, that incorporate that style in their sound, if not in the original music, in the remixes of their music. And it's really taken hold of young people very much so, and you hear it often.
The first time I got in tune to like Baltimore club music, I was like, yo, this is juke. And then it was like, nah, it's B-more. And I'm like, nah, but like, this shit came from juke. Like, I can obviously see how they like slowed it down and like they made it their own. And like, don't get it twisted, Baltimore club music is what it is and it's dope, but it most definitely was influenced from juke music.
It's like Chicago house music is like tainted a lot of different styles of music. And the guys in Baltimore would almost tell you like, oh yeah, we came to Chicago or we heard some of the Chicago house music, and it kind of influenced what they were doing. I mean, Chicago house music has influenced all different genres of house music that's out there. So yeah, I mean, this is the Mecca. Nobody can contest that. Like, Chicago house music is where it started at.
And it's really here in Chicago. There's other cities out there, like in Atlanta, and all those guys that say they have that, they created a sound, but they didn't, you know. House music came from Chicago. I don't care what anyone says. You know, New York, we'll give them disco and rap, but house is from here.
I love Chicago. I've been a fucking fan of Chicago and their music for a long time. I mean, you know, I'd be fake as hell to sit up here and say, you know, half my crate didn't consist of ghetto house music when I was coming up. You know, we didn't play too much of attention to, oh, well, this record is from Chicago, or this. We didn't give a fuck if the crowd liked it. We was gonna play it.
But over the years, it has been incorporated into nightclub music and has a great love and affection overseas in Europe. In the nightclubs in Chicago, it is not a popular style of music, although you will hear ghetto and juke.
A lot of the promoters need to be ashamed of themselves because in Chicago, if you really haven't known, they killed house music. On GCI and Power 92, those are the ones that need to be ashamed of themselves. Because, you know, I went to New York, and they embraced the sound. They embraced the Baltimore style. You know what I'm saying? They embraced the techno, the Detroit Jet style, but in every other style that comes from Chicago, when we get back here, we can't even know the best variety of R&B and hip-hop. What happened to house music? And isn't this where it's from? The radio station forsake Clear Channel. Clear Channel kills everything, because they want you to play off of paper. You know, it can be a song that's not even hot.
I stay in tune with guys overseas on a regular, and it's a shame that they embrace it more than your homeland, where it came from, what they don't embrace it. You know what I'm saying? Like, these people look at it in a whole different fashion. Like, no, that music that you guys make is like, whoa. And you get here and these people you grew up with, and they looking like, it's cool, you know. I mean, your shit all right, you know, and you're like, no, the fuck, it's so many. But then, you know, well, you know.
Program directors, Clear Channel, wake up. Support Chicago, support house music. This is where it's from. stop putting hip hop and R&B in front of everything because you guys are playing catch up, real, and it's not good.
That Booty House and the Ghetto House started around 130-something beats per minute and stayed around there, around 130 to 140. Juke now is a bit fast. You have some juke starting at 150, going all the way up to 160, 165, which is really, you know.
Well, juke basically is just a little up-tempo from house music.
House music started at 118, 120 BPMs because it came from disco. And it just started getting faster and faster and faster. And then the next thing you know, juke music was at 140, now 150, 160 BPM.
And they just kind of made it with a speedier sound. They kind of upped the tempo on the beats and just kind of made it, and it just took off, you know.
The transition just basically, you know, just speeded it up and just was being different about it. That's all.
It's like house music on speed, if you ask me that.
Tell me what you're fucking with.
And that's basically what it is, you know, as far as the energy, you know, just deliver a different energy, you know, and create something that everybody can be a part of.
The raw ghetto energy. I mean, it's like gangster music for your booty or something like that. I don't know. Like, it's just the energy. You know what I'm saying?
When I'm in the club, I want the crowd in a frenzy, non-stop. You know what I'm saying? I want the dance floor packed. I want to see ladies going crazy, fellas going crazy. I want them involved. I just want the party hype from the time I'm on to the time I'm off. I want you sweating, you know, coming out your shoes, etc. And whatever it takes to get that accomplished, that's my goal. I'll get it.
We trying to just keep that going, you know, keep a smile on your face. You know what I'm saying? House music is about having a good time. You gotta have a good time.
Of course, hearing juke music, you gotta move because it got so much energy in it, so I'm just gonna move.
It's just about having fun, you know, having fun with the music and having fun with people.
Man, so it don't matter what age group, what color, or whatever. My job is to make sure that you have fun and that you're gonna all interact together because it's a party.
Being out at the parks, being at different venues, and hearing what the young people are talking about, hearing what they're requesting when I'm playing in the club, I want to be a part of what's hot. And I saw that the juke music was hot, so I had to be a part of it.
As far as Chicago blowing up on the juke scene, which is still Ghetto House, it would be because of the radio DJs like Voodoo Master, DJ Mavis, they on Power 92, Ferris, Kid Scratch, then you got the WGCI DJs like V-Dub, Lil Jon, they're playing juke music, and now you got a B96 DJs playing juke music, and I heard 103.5 playing juke music. Now these are your 4 major radio stations in Chicago.
One of the records that I broke was a record called Watch My Feet by Dude and them. I heard the record for the first time. I walked in the station, and the guy, Shondell, one of my partners that works at the station, gave me this record from Dude and them. And he played the record, and it started off with this kind of hip kind of beat. And then in the chorus, it just, watch my feet, I watch my hands, this juke track. So I instantly, I didn't even hear the verses. I thought it was so creative, and I'm like, this is a hit record.
That's what I try to be known for is breaking local artists. So one of the opportunities I gave Chicago artists was to do what I call make an intro for my mix. That's where you rhyme. I tell people to keep it under 2 minutes. You know, you get to rhyme over something else, talk about GCI, talk about me, and everybody wins. Because I'm like, it's better to be heard on the radio than not heard.
I'll hear something, and I'll be like, this is gonna be a big record. And I'll stay on it. You know, just being out in the street, talking to different people, going to different venues, because a lot of DJs, they'll just do parties or what have you, and don't actually kick it with other DJs and talk to other DJs, and that's so important if you want to be hot, because you need to know what's happening out here.
my boss is like, he was open today. He wanted to know what was going on in the streets, and whatever's going on in the streets, the people need to hear that because that's what they want, and they'll get it regardless without radio, you know, via the internet, et cetera, et cetera. So why not put it out there? And we're always open to new things because music and life changes. Everything changes, and you have to change with it.
Get on the flow. You get on the flow. Get on the flow. You get on the flow. Get on the flow. You get on the flow. 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 Get on the flow.
What really put a stamp on it was like Dion, Milton, Slugo. They came out with their type of sound and tracks that was strictly like for the hood, because most people from the hood didn't have money to go to these parties. They kept everything hood-based, so Dion, Milton, Slugo, they was the only cats in the hood making these type of tracks that was like a replication of the old school house tracks, but done a new way, a little faster, more hard on the beats, and ghetto, cuss words, you know, catering to the hood, making tracks strictly for their block and their area.
Like I did a track called Vulture Life. Like it's a real popular track, and it was just a beat. It's like one of my biggest records because it was just a beat. But the only thing that made it real popular was I took all the guys from the neighborhood, put their names in the track, you know, with a little echo in it, and that made it real. You know, because people would come to the party, be like, watch, my name gonna come right here. That's what really drew people in the hood to it, because it was like they were familiar with us. We were hood DJs, DJing in the hood, and we were like, when we say the hood, we were in the hood. We were in the Robert Taylor Homes, Stateway, the Ickies, you know, things of that nature. Like we were, and what really drew people to us and the music was because we were making it in the building, for the building, with the building.
It's a following of people who this genre of music is real to them because it reflects their life.
I think that's what drew people to us. It was like, it was such family oriented, so packed with people. It was like, and like the different DJs, you know, at this time, I used to watch my cousins because they were one of the first ones to start doing the parties in the hood. And I used to sit in the cut and like watch them and be like, man, you know, why are people drawn to the DJ like that? Like, the girls would be like all over the DJ, and I should be like, why they over the DJs like that? You know, it's because you kind of like dictating the day that day. You playing the records, you got them in a certain move and a certain element, and they in this compact environment. And I, you know, once I figured it out, I was like, I'm gonna try DJing.
I like to call it the icebreaker music because if you ain't dancing to your favorite pop song, you definitely go dance to some juke music. It's like, that's the one thing everybody do at the same time.
The stuff that we play is real hype and take the party up a notch, you know, things like that.
I'm gonna give you a description of one of the parties in the buildings. It's like, we got an apartment, which is the front room. We have the equipment in the kitchen. The speakers are in the corners, and at the end of the party, they're gonna tell them what you'll find behind the speakers. People from the neighborhood know what I'm talking about. And you would pack, you gotta understand, it's like 10 buildings. And everybody from these 10 buildings who come to these type of parties trying to get in this one apartment. So the porch would be like just numerous people on the porch, and the apartment, you talking about a 3-bedroom apartment that fits, this is one family home, 3 bedrooms, and we all trying to fit in the front room. So you can imagine how wild and crazy this was, and the music just like, you know, we would go and search for the biggest speakers possible. So the party, that's where the word like juking came from.
Juke is new, it's fresh, it's on the scene. The word is an old word, but the style of dance for this day and time is new.
It's original. It's fresh. You don't see it every day. It's something that you can create on your own.
It's a way to relieve stress, anger.
Man, it's power in me. It's like I explode. It's like, it's crazy. It's magical. I don't even know what to say. Like, it's just, shivers in my body, my hair rises, goosebumps, everything. It gets in me, so I love it.
Dancing to me is a feeling that's unexplainable.
On that stage, though, I used to
not even on the stage, like,
period.
Sometimes I find myself where we'll be down here playing music and I just start dancing. And it's like you get a feeling, it's like that you can't explain. It feels
Man,
good.
that's the only time that you like really free. And
Yeah,
that's
you know
another
what I'm
thing
saying?
different
Right, you
too.
feel really
Understand
free.
that.
It gives the kids something, diverse to do. Either they want a footwork or they want a tap dance. You know what I'm saying? Either they want a juke or they want a jit, either or,
Keeping these kids focused is what I like to do. If they lose interest in something, just dancing here in Chicago is not where it's at. It's bigger avenues out there for us. There's other things, there's other dance teams, hip hop teams throughout the world that we can compete against. So that is what I'm looking at.
I know if it wasn't for this group, I would certainly be, I couldn't even tell you where I would be. This team definitely has changed my life.
Rock it to the right now, get down low. Juke back and forth with it, get down low. And break it on down line, yeah. Swing to the left and get down low. Rock it to the right now, get down low. Juke back and forth with it, get down low. And break it on down line, yeah.
When I see them out there and then they say juking and footworking is totally different. For you young cats, it's not. What you guys call now is juking. It was jack first. And some of these people don't even realize some of the footwork they're doing now is jack moves. I'm here to tell you, I've been a part of it. So you can't remove people who know, opposed to people who just come into this world, 18, 19 years old. I'm 36, and I still juke, or jack, or footwork, all the same. They just changed the name. And once you change the name, does not mean you change the move, because the move is still the same. The movement always gonna stay the same.
I used to do when I was young, we used to call it jacking. We used to jack the girls up. We used to slow dance and grind. So, it's still, but this day and time, we just got a word attached to that. Juke. Footwork, that's another branch of the word juke.
You got two different layers of juke music. You got the footwork music, and then you got juke music, which is more party-oriented, dancing. Then you got the music that's like battle style, crazy, weird sounds, and the way it breaks down is like totally for the footworkers, you know what I'm saying? So you got two different layers of like juke music going on.
Footworking is basically fast movement of your feet, criss and crossing, the upper movement of your body. If your left foot is going this way, your hand should be making them a gesture, facial expressions, just basically a whole lot of body movement.
It's pretty fast, but you can break the steps down to a 4 count, 16 count, however you want. But once you learn it, it's about you going home to practice and master it yourself. Because it took me a while to get it, but I got it. And I teach to my sister and other dancers on Next Level Dance Troupe, because it's something that we embrace and we do and that we have fun doing. Because if you love dancing and you love juke, then you can pick it up.
With the music, it's like the DJs, they younger and they made the music to fit how they was dancing. Mm-hmm. And with the dancing, at first I looked at it as like the kids that saw us dancing and they couldn't catch what we was doing, so they started kicking their feet real fast, and as they got older, that became the style. That's what I was thinking. But recently though, King La in school was over here, and King La was actually doing some of the footwork that they do, and she was doing it on beat, and I kept saying, they don't do it like that. She like, yes they do. And actually, it's real intricate. If you really pay attention to it and see what they doing, it's really some hot stuff.
It's gotten so intricate. The change-ups, the pauses, the new kicks. I see people doing some footwork, starting off with an old jack move that transfer into a footwork. So they will start off as doing what was called the shuffle leg, or the shuffle, going off into a footwork move. I see it going to a whole nother level. It is evolving, and I don't knock it. I don't knock it because it keeps us on our toes. Us as DJs, it keeps us on our toes.
The thing is, people are labeling this little dance that these girls do with these guys as juking. That's so far from the truth. You know what I'm saying? Each one of these dances that these kids do got a name to it.
Like these were erks. Double, kicks, you know what I mean? Skates, dribbles. So with now, what we're doing, we just combo it up, everything. You know what I mean?
like, do a move. And they're gonna tell you exactly what the name of that move is and everything. Some of them make them up as they go, you know, but juking is a statement. It's a phrase for parties, a phrase for, you know, the actions that people doing, whatever, but that dance where them girls is grinding up on guys, that's not juking, you know what I'm saying? That's just some little hot-tailed girl who ain't had no home training or following the lead or something. You know, a lot of them do it off peer pressure. They'll see one of the other girls doing it and they do it, you know what I'm saying?
I always present the party part of it because it's all about juking. You know, of course you got the, you know, girls stand and bend over in front of you, you know, all that stuff. I mean, you can do that to anything. That's not all juking. Just look in the camera when I say that. To you parents, when we play the music, it's not all sexual. It's really party, you know what I'm saying? We just having fun, you know. Back in the day, you know, I watched Dirty Dancing, they did the same thing. They just did it to old 70s or 80s music or whatever, so.
Youngsters, at the club, they don't usually, or at a venue, they don't usually dance with one another. They'll have these ciphers, so to speak, and they'll do footwork and, you know, battle against each other.
When that juke music comes on, every woman in the building is doing their thing. And every guy in the building wants it to continue.
Like, the things that we're saying on these records is no different than what Tupac said, Biggie Smalls said, you know, Big L, or the list goes on. It's no different.
Do they say that on a Dr. Dre record anymore? There's a guy named Doppler Effect. He did a song called I Wanna Fuck a Mannequin. And he says that in the song, so it's just like, you're gonna talk about us, this guy, you know, at least we're, that's sick.
I have found out that my daughters do, you know, have came across the CDs. I mean, it's like once you put it in the public, it's like you subject your kids to that too, you know. That's why a lot of the records that I do now, I kind of, you know, sway away from the cursing a little bit, or I try to find another word in place of it because I know that my kids are growing up in the world like everybody else's kids, and why taint other people's kids and you know, not taint mine. Do I let them listen to it? Nah, but, you know, especially one of my daughters, I had a daughter named Jasmine who can dance very well, and she's into the music, and people have told me, like, your daughter, she be at the parties and she be juking. I'm like, you know, it's rough, you know, as a dad, but it's like, you know, you gotta let a kid be a kid. My mom let me be me, so if she wouldn't, I wouldn't been able to produce like I can today. So I gotta let her be her. Juke parties in the hood. Ain't no telling what you'll see. Juke parties downtown, they banned it, you know, because the music comes on and the girls get wild, and it's really not the girls that they tripping on, it's the way the guys react to the girls, you know, getting wild. A juke party in the suburbs, they've kind of like banned it too. I've done a few parties in the suburbs and the schools now, and they got no juking signs on the walls, you know, where they watching the kids and tell them they can't dance a certain way, you know. I mean, little do they know, they just making it where it's like the kid's gonna want to do it because you making it like it's taboo, you know what I'm saying? They saying, you know, I know how to get them back, we gonna juke.
How can you trip on? I mean, they was doing it in house music. You was jacking. You get on a girl, she put her ass on your zipper. You pump from the back. That's been going on forever. I can see you was taking your clothes off doing it. Now, it's probably disrespectful as far as underage children doing it, like in school facilities, around adults. Yeah, but you know, they know how to sneak and do it with the parents. After the parents finish chaperone, after they drop you off in the party, they ain't chaperoning no more, then you get busy, you know what I'm saying? So that's been a thing that's been going on forever. They always trying to criticize. So I seen something actually on the front page of Chicago Sun-Times, or Sunday Sun-Times, it says, school says no juking or something like that. And it's like, corporate America kills me, man. They always love to, you know, I don't want to say the name, but you know who I'm talking about. They always love to take some urban young, you know, music from us brown skinned people and just take it and say that all we doing is trash and we garbage and we just gonna be filth.
it starts with the parenthood. Like, you know, my daughter knows her limits. You know, you can't blame the producers for what your kids are doing in these parties. You know, it starts at home. You know, they blame us, you know, it's the juke music, and the juke music is tainting the kids, and they drive sex, and then how they drive sex into some music? They synced that somewhere before. If the record saying get out, little mama, and she popping her ass to it, it don't say pop your ass. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't know where people got that from. Like, you know, blaming the producers for.
Bottom line is there's always gonna be, in some cases, a bad apple, but it just depends. Once you have that bad apple, just pull it out the barrel, and now you got a whole basket of good apples.
You're already starting to see it in different videos. You're starting to see it on award shows, at least some variation of it. They haven't gotten the true footworkers out there yet. But it's a few of them actually that's out there with King Charles and those guys. They are doing work with Madonna that's way big, you know, so big ups to him.
Missy Elliott, her video Lose Control. Those are some Chicago dancers that is in her video doing our style of footwork. Who else? Sierra, Janet, Beyonce, the list goes on.
After the Lose Control, I was with Missy. We did numerous of videos that we had. She made us change the style of footwork up a little bit. She made us actually make it more commercial instead of more just mumbo jumbo, because when you see it, it's kind of off. Like, a lot of groups don't really be in sync, you know what I mean? So she actually made us get really in sync with each other and make it more commercial, where people can be like, wow, like slow it down and then speed it up and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So it was really a lot of, you know, ideas that she gave to us.
They say Chicago style footwork, it looked like river dancing or something like that.
You know,
back
it's like,
when we was doing it, you couldn't compare.
No, we went out of
nothing.
state, Tennessee, do
You
parades
couldn't
out
compare
there,
it to nothing.
and it was like the people were amazed, like, oh,
Yeah,
y'all
we
seen
traveled
anything like
around.
that? How y'all dance so fast? The mass majority that I see is like, this is dancing?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This is dancing?
Because it was like this. People we know that didn't dance, and they used to be looking at us like, man, y'all so good, and then we shied away from this thing for a little while, and then when we just go around and see what's going on, they dancing, it looked funny to us, but everybody like it.
Right.
And we looking like they just kicking their feet, they can't dance.
We went from there for about 2 years with Missy and went into I went into Dude and them after that. I started working with Dude and them to wash my feet. We did that for about a year, and we're still actually doing it. But then they called like a year later, they seen the Wash My Feet stuff or whatever. I guess Verizon was doing some type of promotion here or whatever and was looking for that style, you know. So then they ended up linking up, and my talent agency actually called me, Block. They're from LA, and they let me know that, you know, they were coming here looking for this. So then I was there, you know, first person there, and then along with some other dancers that I, you know, dance with here in Chicago, you know, so we were there, knocked it out, and we were there filming a commercial, you know. It was like 3 days later, a week later, we flew out to LA, stayed out there 2 days, shot for 2 days, left that Sunday, so.
Like how Crunk was. You see how they put out Crunk? They made it exciting. They had a main character in which was marketable, and which was that they ran with. They had their main people. You need the face for it. They became the face of Crunk throughout the whole world. Even though Crunk was so big, you need a face for it. You're gonna need a face for it. You need somebody who's marketable for it. You need a face for it. You need to push it right. It has to be marketed right, you know?
Yeah, I do believe, you know, it's gonna reach some nice height.
Because it
had
had
like the Crumpin' did.
Right,
you
right. I
know,
was gonna say it had a few chances.
Right.
It didn't blow like it should have, but it's gonna be a time
I think
it's gonna be a main dance like you'll see in videos.
Yeah, the question is to me though is how long is the hype gonna last at the pace they going? You know, because like I said, it's just I'm gonna say out of the whole 100% of the dances,
ain't nobody chasing no roots, man.
About
ain't
30%
nobody
of them really worth looking at.
We could take this footwork to LA, you know, because I'm trying to do something with Tommy the Clown right now. I want to put it on a high level that the footwork and, you know, people, it could go places. It can really go places. All we got to do is just go down to Atlanta and do it.
Atlanta, they have, the snap and roll and everything, and California, they have the crip walk and the hyphy thing, you know what I mean? And I want it to be out there, I don't really have no bad shades on that, because I really want Juke to be everything Juke, I want footwork to be everywhere, just like hip-hop dances, ballet, tap, jazz. I want Juke to be like that, if it's possible,
Now I could watch you juke, work the footwork, note it, put you on the timer, watch the clock work, hold it and switch up the flow like it's Cliff Notes. Where the juke go? Where the flow go? Is it over there? Is it over there? It's right here. Now watch them get to working. Is it over there? Is it over there? Right here. Now watch them get to working.
Put it in there under that street light, bend it all day and all night. Protect they waist, they get nasty and you get on the flow, right? You get on the flow, right? Vroom vroom on a motorbike. Looking at me, stop it, dyke. Looking at me, stop it, dyke. Get a man, get a life. Take it back, you left to right.
I mean, it's kind of like when they knock the buildings down, the rock tails don't exist anymore. They knock them down. It's like they divided a culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't understand that the juke music is not just a juke music, it's a culture of people inside that music. And the reason that it's still standing now is because it reached other heights and it's in other cultures, it's in other people, other demographics, other nationalities is into the music now.
What I think is keeping it from really just blowing up the way that it should is everybody is trying to be the one to capitalize off of it. Instead of people coming together and making it happen as a unit and as a whole, because it's all from just this city, but it's other cities that have caught on to it now, like Detroit and a few other cities, but everybody, it's like everybody's trying to be that one single person that makes it happen. And that's the problem with Chicago. At the end of the day, when it comes to music, in any genre of music, you know what I mean? That's just the problem here. Everybody wants to be that one solo individual. I just feel like for it to happen and work the way that it needs to work, everyone needs to be like a part of that movement, as opposed to this person wanting to be the head and this person wanting to be the head over here, and it just causes confusion. So then when you have like someone who's in a position to really make actual, something happen, it's like, they're like, well, I don't even want to deal with this stuff because you guys are beefing about who, you know what I mean? It's a turnoff, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's just all about everybody maturing as far as the actual overall ending picture. You know what I mean? If you want Juke to be on the map, like how rap and all of that other stuff is, you're gonna have to move as a unit in your city and make it happen that way.
In this game, we have to learn to respect and support one another as a family. There's no need to, well, he ain't nothing. It's a lot of that hating going on. We're from the same cloth. Although we go our separate directions, do our own thing, we got our own style, our own ways, but we're still a family. And families should support one another.
I don't even look at competition. I want all the motherfuckers, all the guys to do good, when it come down to it, because shoot, if they doing good, then that's just gonna open up doors for everybody else that's official. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that's an official artist, an official producer, official promoters, people that really get down how they live in this game, it's gonna open up doors for them. You know what I'm saying? So get down how you live. You call yourself the king, but you better goddamn it be able to stand on top of it or stop it.
It's all Chicago. It's all about Chicago. So I'm out here supporting everybody, violators, ghetto technicians, track affiliates, whoever out here doing their thing. I got love for them because we all from Chicago. So we got to do something and come up out here.
A lot of people think of Juke and they think of it as, around the world, they think of it as bumping and grinding. For the most part, it's really not bumping and grinding. To us, in Chicago, Juke is like a culture. Juke comes with music, Juke comes with dance, and Juke is like, man, it's a whole nother culture. Like, man, Juke, like hip hop, Juke, you got hip hop music, you got hip hop artists, you got hip hop, we got Juke music, we got Juke artists, we got Juke dance, it's just like that. So it's basically like a genre to us too. So Juke can definitely go. It's just about how you do it.
It's all about Chicago, so if anybody gets a chance to get national exposure with the music, it's like all us get a chance to get exposure with the music. And we just have to stay on top of our business out here as producers and the dancers and the culture and be out here doing things, traveling, getting to meet people outside of Chicago.
I had a DJ that came to me, Ron Carroll, huge. He's here, he's based here, but huge overseas. He told me one night in the club, we were listening to some house music in the club. He said, Bulu, you know, if you find a young group, maybe 3 handsome guys or a girl or something, and put a group together and they start making songs, juke songs, not just juke, you know, a sample of some old record or them sampling something explicit. If they make songs, it could be huge. When somebody does that, I think it's gonna take off more. People outside of it that don't understand it can be like, I like that song. If it has some context, some good lyrics or something that people can relate to, they'll be like, I like that.
Most juke tracks that were out, they're more like kind of repetitive, like club, you know, like house, and keep the keep looping over. And we made a song. It was the first juke song, you know, ever pretty much made with the format of a song, you know, the verse, the chorus, hook, that kind of thing. And we were actually singing and we're putting melodies to the powerful juke tracks. So, because music alone in juke is just powerful enough, but you never really heard it where they had a singer singing on top of it, singing a song over it. And they wrote the song Jukebox, Manny Moe and Lisa B, with the track done by DJ Nafis from Chicago. And the rest was history after that.
Hopefully, real soon, hopefully we could get out here and really be doing things with these major artists, because that's gonna be one of the things that's gonna really help us all out. If somebody, anybody, however it may happen, we get with some major artists that's already out here established and they want to be a part of the juke movement, and instead of us sampling their music, we could really get them to participate in the production of this music, and I swear, in no time it will go far. Even if it's Soulja Boy, because he right here with the genre and the age bracket, so we get some guys like that, or just some real established names to be a part of this, it could really take off and go far. But if even we don't do that, it's just up to the producers out here in Chicago to really be original, strive for originality, and try things new as far as the music could go. And keep it juke, but try to put another swing to it.
And I commend DJ Slugo, you know what I mean? Because he's been trying to step up and kind of bring a lot of people together, you know what I mean? Like when he went out and got the Violator like management, and it came to like the All-Star Juke squad or whatever. I mean, I commend it. I want to beat him up a little bit, because you know what I mean? Juke squad was my actual thing with me, DJ Gentman, and Eric Martin. But at the end of the day, I'm no longer active as a juke DJ or anything like that. So I feel like as long as things are still continuing, I see no problem with whatever anybody does, you know what I mean?
The artists need to actually do what they do in the music business. They have to have an image. They have to have formatted songs, hooks, choruses, and you know, the underground is cool with the explicit lyrics and everything, and you probably could put out a record with a bunch of explicit stuff, because like I said earlier, people gravitate to negative, you know, explicit stuff. But if it wants to be more, if we as DJs and as Chicagoans want for it to be more mainstream, we have to look at it as being, okay, this is a song, it's just up-tempo, 150 plus, you know, when it comes to beats per minute, it has to be a song.
As far as a movement is concerned, if we want to promote something, if we want to promote peace, we want to promote something that's, you know, a higher level in thinking, we can do that. You know what I'm saying? And we can do that by being ourselves, rather than stepping inside a box and we got to stay here and you hold your hands like this, you know, and we don't do those kind of things. No, we are who we are, you know what I'm saying? And we can move in this direction if we want to.
That, you know, Slugo, Gantman, I think, and DJ Nathis are probably the three biggest real juke track guys that, you know, that can take this national, you know, and even Chip to some degree. But these guys really have a solid sound that you can actually sing to, rap to, and make records. You know what I mean? Make real records, which is where we would like to see it.
It's incredible as far as like what we're trying to do with it now, instead of making it just, I mean, of course we can always make samples and say crazy stuff over the beat. You know, that's gonna be there. But now we're just gonna take it to a whole new level where we can get a more serious nod for, like, be at the Grammys, you know, with juke music, you know, the American Music Awards. Producer of the year for the juke category, you know what I'm saying? Of course you got the hip hop, you know, but juke music can have its own category. It can, you know what I'm saying? We just got to step our game up, which we have, and we are at this particular point in time, and make this good music.
Like music right now, because some forms of music are finally hitting their 10 and 15 and hip hop's definitely all in this 20-year run. They have to look back in time. Like, nothing's new. Like, if you all remember rock, let's say in the 50s, everything from Chubby Checker on, you know, then when someone like an Elvis came along, all of a sudden, what is that mess? And then when the 60s rock came around, then people from the 40s and 50s are like, what is this crazy Get High? Janis Joplin, The Doors, Jimi Hendrix. Then the 70s come, and now we're going hard. Now the people from the 60s is like, what is that mess? Younger people are gonna grab and take a piece of this and decide to make it their lane and take it to their elevation.
I always look for that. I always look for good juke music. I want people to understand that juke music is not just beats, you know, repetitive words. You know, it's actually composed art. It don't take us 20 minutes to do our music, 5-minute tracks. You know, we love our music. We're passionate about what we do, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, and of course, a lot of people gonna make money off of whatever they do, you know, but if you love what you do, the money will just come, you know what I'm saying?
That's why I have a tattoo, it's on my arm. Like, as much as an old school house head as I am, this is where I come from. I had this done, it's a record crate, because obviously before Serato and before CDs and all that, there was vinyl. So house was what I come from. I elevated it into hip hop, which was something in the 90s we had to do in Chicago, because this was a house market. R&B is timeless no matter what. And then I have juke, you know, so I actually represent everything on the arm. I actually play it, I live it and breathe it, and I like it. You know, I beg juke DJs to give me music. You know, I love it, you know, even though I come from way, way back in the day.
Juke music right now, we're taking it to a whole new level. It's definitely gonna get bigger and better. And the more exposure people see, you know, they can see the art in us and not just a group of kids that's just making up crap at home in their basement. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, of course we're far beyond that, you know. But mainly right now, I just want people to just take it seriously, you know. Take us seriously. This ain't no run-of-the-mill stuff. This ain't no fad, neither.
We need to all get together and really put Chicago on the map in this music that we do.
We roll deep. I only like to stick with but a few females. Rest of all guys, bodyguard, game tight. 'Cause I'm not the type to stand up on the wall unless it's time to watch back. Other than that, I'm pop locking, stripper dancing, book working, center of attention. So haters fall back, especially because we come freaking in a new dance. Watch me do my juke, me do my juke. Watch me do my juke, footworking. Watch me do my juke, Chicago Juke. Watch me do my juke. Feel the bass, let it vibrate and get into your membrane. Give it to yourself, let no one else knock you off your game. Hear it pound, juke my body, get on the floor and juke, juke, juke.